My family, my extended family of co-workers, and my work have all been extremely important to me. Juggling work and family has been as much a challenge to me as to anyone else, especially since I wanted to be great at both. So I combined them wherever I could. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another reading. We are reading Rich Dad Poor Dad was the book that we read before. We are reading Ray Dalio Principles. It is still early, but that's okay. So yesterday we were reading about China and Ray Dalio actually setting up a branch in China. Today we are talking about my family and my extended family. Let's get straight into it. I'm very excited today because today is also cash flow day, and that is always really good because I love seeing people being able to understand the principles of investing, understand how they can improve their investing, think more like a wealthy person. Actually writing a very interesting article about that for LinkedIn, which is really exciting too. So many exciting things going on. Oh, I'm always so excited. But let's get into the reading, and I'll tell you where you can watch the replays and how you can get in touch with me and ask your questions, and then we'll answer them and put them on YouTube as well. And I'll also tell you about tonight's cash flow. So let's get started. My family and my extended family. My family, my extended family of co-workers, and my work have all been extremely important to me. Juggling work and family has been as much a challenge to me as to anyone else, especially since I wanted to be great at both. So I combined them wherever I could. For example, I took my kids on business trips. When at first I brought my son Devon and later Matt to my Chinese business meetings, our hosts were always very kind. They would give him cookies and milk. One great memory from Abu Dhabi was when my clients' friends took my son Paul and me to the desert to eat a freshly killed and roasted goat with our bare hands. I asked Paul, who was dressed in the traditional gown they'd given him, how he liked it, and he said, "What could be better than to sit on the floor, dressed in pajamas, eating with my hands with nice people?" We all laughed. I remember another time when my eldest son Devon was about 10 years old, brought back silk scarves from China he bought for $1 and sold for $20 in a shopping mall just before Christmas, which was just the first sign of his business savvy. I love that there is always a way to be able to combine your family and everything else that you need to combine. And I think this is so important. If you're investing or if you're in business, there's always a way to combine the two. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other, but you just have to be very savvy around how you do it. And it's the same with investing. You want to be able to find ways to be able to combine the two so that you can still shut down at a certain time and spend time with family, and that you can work on everything else that needs to be worked on. Something that I actually need to give a bit more thought to, because things have been getting a little bit out of hand for me lately. I have a shutdown time. I need to keep to it a little bit better. But I've also been doing some training at the end of the day, so need to find a way to balance that out a little bit better. But I'll find the way. It's okay. Let's continue. By the way, Andrew Castle, good to see you. Thank you for the question. Hi, or thanks for the comment. Hi, my friend. PFF, yay. Definitely agree with that. And thank you, Christopher, I think it is, for the green little heart. And it looks like you've got a little, what's it called? Clover, four-leaf clover, which is really, really cool. So this is on the big O. Okay, by the mid-1980s, Bridgewater had grown to about 10 people. So I rented a big old farmhouse. Bridgewater occupied part of it, and my family occupied the rest. It was extremely informal and family-like. Everyone parked in the driveway. We met around the kitchen table, and my kids would leave the door open while I sat on the toilet. The people I worked with would wave as they walked by. Eventually, the farm was put up for sale, so I bought a barn on the property and renovated it. My wife, our kids, eventually there were 4, and I lived in a small apartment inside the barn. And I made the unfinished hayloft usable as an office by putting in electric baseboard heat, which I chose because it was cheap to install. It was a great space for parties, and there was enough land for us to play soccer and volleyball and have outdoor barbecues. For our company Christmas party, we'd have a big potluck dinner with my family. After a few drinks, Santa would show up and we'd all sit on his lap for a photo and find out who had been naughty or nice. The night always ended with a lot of dancing. We also had an annual sleaze day when everybody would dress up sleazy. You get the idea. Bridgewater was a small community of friends who worked hard and partied hard. And I love this again as well because you create your own life. So if you want to create a fun life, if you want to live in a barn, if you want to buy a farm, if you want to do different things, I think very often we are pushed into this idea that we have to live our lives the way that we do, and we have to do certain things in a certain way. And that is definitely not the case. It's really important to take the time to sit down and really think about, what do I want from my life? What is going to be fun for me? What am I going to enjoy? How am I going to be able to enjoy my life, still earn the money that I need to, maybe not earn as much as everybody else is, just so that I can also have that really amazing life. But very often when you're having fun, you're going to be earning more anyway because you're enjoying yourself so much. So make sure that you put in some time for that balance. Bob Prince joined Bridgewater in 1986 when he was still in his 20s, and more than 30 years later, we are still close partners as co-chief investment officers. From the very start, Bob and I played great jazz together. Whenever we'd go back and forth on ideas, we still love doing that, and we'll wait until one of us dies. He's also a great teacher, both to clients and co-workers. Over time, he became like my brother, as well as one of the most critical builders and pillars of Bridgewater. Soon, Bridgewater began to look like a real company. We outgrew the barn and moved into a small office in a strip mall. There were 20 of us by the end of the 1980s. But even as we grew, I never thought of anybody I worked with as an employee. I'd always wanted to have and be around people who also wanted to have a life full of meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And to me, a meaningful relationship is one that's open and honest in a way that lets people be straight with each other. I never valued more traditional, antiseptic relationships where people put on a facade of politeness and don't say what they really think. I believe that all organizations basically have two types of people: those who work to be part of a mission and those who work for a paycheck. I wanted to surround myself with people who needed what I needed, which was to make sense of things for myself. I spoke frankly, and I expected those around me to speak frankly. I fought for what I thought was best, and I wanted them to do so as well. When I thought someone did something stupid, I said so, and I expected them to tell me when I did something stupid. Each of us would be better for it. To me, that was what strong and productive relationships look like. Operating any other way would be unproductive and unethical. More big twists and turns in the economy and markets. We'll read one more section and then we'll finish for today. And then I'll tell you about cash flow tonight, and I'll tell you how you can reach out, ask your finance and investment questions. And Cheryl has sent a heart. Thank you for that. So wonderful to have you all. And Dung, Haro sent a heart. Thank you. Jillian, Mandy, Lindy, MD Rana, so many amazing people joining on the Big O. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 1987 and 1988 were filled with more of those big twists and turns that helped shape me and my approach to life and investing. We were one of the few investment managers who were short stocks ahead of Black Monday. October 19, 1987, when the largest single-day percentage decline in the history of the stock market. We got a lot of attention because we were up 22% when most others were down a lot. The media dubbed us among the heroes of October. Naturally, I was feeling pretty good going into 1988. I had grown up in an area of high volatility and had learned that the best way to play it was to get a hold of a big move and ride it. We used our indicators to catch shifting fundamentals, and our technical trend followed filters to confirm that price movement were consistent with what the indicators were suggesting. So, yes. When they both pointed in the same direction, we had a strong signal. When they were at odds, we had little or no signal. But as it turned out, there was hardly any volatility in 1988, and so our technical filters whipsawed us, and we ended up giving a bit back, more than half our 1987 gains. That stung. But it also taught us some important lessons and prompted Bob and me to replace our technical trend following filter with better value measures and risk controls. Until then, our systems had been completely discrete. We would flip from a fully long position to a fully short one when we crossed a predetermined threshold, much as we switched from bonds to cash for the World Bank. But we weren't always equally confident in our views, and we'd also get killed playing transaction costs when we crossed back and forth. That drove Bob crazy. I can remember him running laps around the office building to calm himself down. So at the end of the year, we moved to a more variable system that allowed us to size our bets in relation to how confident we were. These and other improvements made Bob made to our systems had paid off many times since. Very, very smart. So if you notice something that is annoying you, you need to look at what you can do to improve and change. And so Bob is very good at getting in and having a look at what is annoying him and thinking of and finding solutions. And that's what every investor needs to do. Not everybody at Bridgewater saw things as Bob and I did. Some in the company doubted the systemization could work, especially when the systems didn't do well, which, like normal decision making, happened every now and then. It took a lot of reasoning to persuade some of the people I worked with to press on. But even if I couldn't convince them, they couldn't change my mind because they couldn't show me why our approach of clearly specifying, testing, and systemizing our logic wasn't preferable to making decisions less systematically. All great investors and investment approaches have bad patches. Losing faith in them at such times is a common mistake, as getting too enamored of them when they do well. Because most people are more emotional than logical. They tend to overreact to short-term results. They give up and sell low when times are bad and buy too high when times are good. I find this is true for relationships as it is for investments. Wise people stick with sound investments through ups and downs, while flighty people react emotionally to how things feel, jumping into things when they're hot and abandoning them when they're not. Despite our relatively poor investing performance, 1988 was a great year for Bridgewater, because by reflecting on and learning from our poor performance, we made systematic improvements. I've come to realize that bad times coupled with good reflections provide some of the best lessons, and not just about business, but also about relationships. One has many more supposed friends when one is up than when is down, because most people like to be with winners and shun losers. True friends are the opposite. I got a lot out of bad times, not just because they gave me mistakes to learn from, but also because they helped me find out who my real friends were, friends who would be with me through thick and thin. Okay, the next foothold for Bridgewater is our next chapter. But first of all, I want to say thank you so much for joining. And if you enjoyed that, and if you'd like to see the rest of the chapters that we have recorded and put on YouTube, if you'd like to see the Rich Dad Poor Dad readings, if you'd like to see the Art of Thinking Clearly readings, then you can do that at YouTube. We are at the Passive Cash Flow Club, and we would love to see you there. We also have videos with answers to your questions. We have a whole series of questions that we've recently made videos on, and those will be available. We'll be dropping those one by one. So make sure that you subscribe when you get to the Passive Cash Flow Club on YouTube so that you get a notification when one of those questions is posted. And then it might be a question that you have as well, and then you can benefit from getting the answer, which is always really, really exciting. Now, if you'd like to join us for cash flow tonight, because tonight is cash flow night, and if you miss out, if you're watching the recording and it is not cash flow night tonight, send me a message anyway at business_team_6_official on Instagram, and I'll get my VA to send you the details of when the next cash flow is. She'll send you the link so you can come and join us, and I would love to have you because it shows you how to play the investment game in real life. It lets you practice, and it allows you to then also make mistakes without losing any real money because it's all just play money. And it goes deeper than the usual version because it's online, and we have added some changes to it which make it even more realistic so that you can really get the feeling of what it's like to start investing or to improve your investing and to talk to other people at the table who are really great investors already in real life, to see how they think, how they do things, and what it is that they are up to. Really, really exciting. So get in touch on Instagram. Send me your questions on Instagram so that we can make videos with the answers to those questions. And let me know if you're interested in cash flow, and I will get my VA, my virtual assistant, to send you the details. If you can make it tonight, great. And if you're watching the recording, we will let you know when the next cash flow is. So thank you so much for joining. And before we go, I am going to quickly let you know that you need to make the switch to unlock your rich. And I really want to see you unlock your rich and start creating the wealth and the life that you desire, because you deserve it. We're going to stop the recording there. It has been great having you. And I'm going to quickly go on to Bigo and say hello to everybody that left a comment or sent a little heart or other things. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Sydney time. And it is great being able to read for you and give you my commentary. So I'll see you all tomorrow. And let's quickly head over to the Bigo.